Okay, so what we're going to do, move this up a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is I've set up a scene here where there is a plane, and I've created some buildings, and these are curbs for sidewalks, and then buildings. All these are buildings. And I'm going to show you how to turn this into a city scene using materials. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is come over here where it says to your camera view. I set up a camera because I just prefer working with cameras. I find it's easier and you get better end results. So I went ahead and just set up a camera looking into the city this way, or down the street this way. Okay, and so I've set up cameras, camera 1. And right here where it says default shading, if you click on that, viewport background and show environment background. And also what we can do is go to standard, lighting and shadows, and illuminate with scene lights. So click standard, lighting and shadows, illuminate with scene lights. And then it says user defined. Click it a second time, and materials and realistic materials with maps. This won't 100% match your renderings. As we saw in the previous videos, there are some materials that it just doesn't reflect accurately until you render them out, but it will give you a good start. Okay, so for this, I'm just going to create a sunlight system. Let's do, oh, I want some shadows here. Okay, I'm going to do 8 o'clock in the morning on March 21st, roughly. And put the sun in the sky. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. It's showing the sun striking one face and one shadows. So I'll show you how we can fix that with a secondary light here. Let's get everything set up first, and then we'll come back to that. Okay, so here's my scene. Render it out. Yep. Okay, that looks good. And so I want to start applying materials. And the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and get my background set up. So I'm going to go to Environment. And click on that map. None. Click on Bitmap. And I have this beautiful sunrise. And of course, it's doing that. So I'm going to drag and drop it into this first slot right here as an instance. Environment. Let's do cylindrical environment. And let's see if it's going to let me make any adjustments. Oh, it did that way. Okay, so you see I now can move it up and down. So I'm moving it up and down by adjusting that V value. So I want to move it up so I can see the mountains a little bit. There we go, I can see the mountain. It doesn't need to be fully there. Now let's hope the other offset for the U is going to work. And it finally worked. How about that? There we go. So now I'll show you the map I got and why this isn't the perfect one to use. Because even though that finally it finally worked out and I got it where I need it to be. Yay! You can see the pixelization on it is pretty bad. What you really want is a photo that's a panoramic. Mountain and sky. Like that. These work better. I'm trying to find one that looks like it could be in a city, behind a city. These all look like they're in the middle of nowhere. They're beautiful. Ooh, look at that one. No way in shape or form is that going to be in the city, but behind a city. Because that is definitely in the middle of nowhere. but it's beautiful. But this is what you're want. This is really these will work out better. These longer photos like this. All right, I know this isn't realistic, but I'm gonna go with the one I liked. That would work. All right, let's try this one instead. And it should give me a better result. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, get that new photo. There it is. Okay, and then drag and drop it back over that one. And let's move it around. And now we got the mountains in the background. It's quite beautiful. Okay, so you see we have adjusted the location or the position of that using the U and the V on the offset. Now, because it's in the background, I always like to blur it a little bit more than, let's see, take out the blur. Blur it enough so that it looks like it's out of focus and in the background. It's not blurring it so much as it's pixelating it. Oh, you can see it up there. I forgot to drag and drop it back. Okay, let's do this. Drag and drop it back as an instance. And then let's see how that looks. That's too much. Let's try like lower. Now try that. Oh, it's a little bit better, but it needs more. I don't know, it's a matter of, it's a little subjective sometimes. What you think looks good. Alright, I can sit here and mess with this forever, and then I'm going to run out of video. Okay, good enough. And anytime I decide I want to change it now, I'm going to change it here. Okay, so I'm going to go to my next block, and I'm going to go to my maps, and I'm going to attach asphalt, and I'm going to apply it to the ground there. And one of the things I'm going to have to do is apply that UVW map. You almost always have to apply the UVW map modifier. Even though it's a plane, we still want to make sure that this real world map size gets turned off. And then the map scaler. And it just fixes a whole bunch of stuff. And I want to scale that way down. Asphalt is not that. Okay, and quick render. Whoops, wrong view. It looks pretty good. Okay. And so I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to go back up to the default. And I'm going to drag and drop this here. And I'm going to drag and drop it under bump. Now, in this case, let's see what happens with the bump. You probably want to try 90. Let's see how that goes. That looks pretty good. I might take that bump down a little bit to about 70, 69. That works. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. And so you see, by me having blurred out that background, it now has a very three-dimensional feel to it. Just because I blurred out that background. Also, you see my camera is barely off the ground, so you can get nice and close to that texture. I also teach photography, so I'm going to teach you guys how to set up your cameras and look at things in ways that are both photographic and cinematographic. Okay, it's off to a good start. How are we on time? Okay. So the next one I want to do is let's adjust our global lighting level, bringing that down to match the sky. It's morning, so we're going to have a little bit of a blue. But I want it more, let's add some, let's make it a little pinker because it is morning, a little warmer, so it's not cold. We'll go purple rather than blue. There we go. So it gets that kind of that pinkish morning light. There we go. I think that matches pretty well. Okay. All right. So now we got that global, cool morning light to the whole thing. I just always like to check this to see if the automatic exposure control makes it look any better. No, it just over brightens it. I don't know why it's called auto. Okay, no. All right, so we're good with that. And then the next thing I want to do is, because I already have that map, is to add concrete. Oh, that's not the concrete I want. I'll show you something that does make a good concrete. Oh, I don't want a bitmap now. All right, let's go back to the default. I'm going to clear this. I think it's stucco. Or stucco. Yeah, there we go. Stucco actually makes a pretty good concrete. Even though right now it's the reverse. I swap the colors. Make that gray. And then we can make adjustments to that. Add it to the okay, so I've added it to all three. Show in viewport. I'll render this out. Okay, I'm going to render it from here just to see what it looks like. It says those, it's way too big. So size, take that down to, alright, we'll try 0.5. You know what, I'm going to get a map. I'm just a big fan of map, but if you want to use something like this, stucco generally works for concrete. Okay, so oh yeah, much better. Alright, we need one that looks like sidewalk. That one does right there. I know it's a wall, but oh, it's got this iStock photo. Can't use those. Or you can if you want to clean them up. Okay, I'm going to use that. Okay, I'm going to have to continue in the next video. My battery is low and I'm about out of time. So I'll see you in the next one.